They say death begins when breath ends. But what if you could slow down that clock? Not through pills or surgeries, but through something you've done since the moment you were born. Imagine extending your lifespan by decades, simply by changing the way you breathe. This isn't fantasy. Recent scientific studies reveal that a single ancient breathing technique, practiced by monks, yogis, and warriors, can increase vitality, reverse aging markers, and even extend human lifespan by up to 25 years. For centuries, this secret was guarded in temples and mystery schools, hidden behind chants and rituals. Today, science is finally catching up. In the ruins of ancient India and Egypt, carvings depict men sitting in meditative stillness, their posture upright, their faces calm. They called it prana, the breath of life. In Greece, it was pneuma. In China, chi. Across every culture, breath wasn't just air. It was the divine link between body, mind, and eternity. Fast forward to our modern age, where we've forgotten how to breathe. Our hurried, shallow breaths mirror our stressed, shortened lives. But deep within this forgotten art lies a key, one that not only calms the mind, but reawakens the body's own code for longevity. Long before laboratories and microscopes, ancient civilizations understood something profound. Breath was not merely the act of survival, it was the source of all life. In India, sages of the Vedic age described breath as prana, the universal energy that flows through every living being. They believed that by mastering prana through specific breathing disciplines, one could control the forces of nature within the body, slowing aging and even transcending death. In China, Taoist masters spoke of qi, the invisible current that nourishes organs, emotions, and spirit. Their breathing exercises, known as qigong, were practiced to circulate this life energy, to strengthen the body, and lengthen life. In ancient Egypt, the priests of Heliopolis performed rhythmic breathing rituals at sunrise, syncing their breath with the rising sun to absorb vitality and align with the cosmic rhythm. The Greeks, too, revered the breath. The philosopher Anaximenes taught that, just as our soul, being air, holds us together, so breath and air encompass the whole world. To the Stoics, controlled breathing was the gateway to serenity, discipline, and longevity. These early thinkers didn't just stumble upon this idea. They lived it. Their soldiers, healers, and mystics all practiced intentional breathing as a daily ritual. They noticed that those who breathed deeply were calmer, sharper, and lived longer. Yet as centuries passed, this sacred knowledge faded, overshadowed by industrial progress and scientific arrogance. The ancient wisdom was dismissed as myth, until recently. Modern researchers now confirm what those early masters knew instinctively. Breath is the master key to vitality, emotion, and the very rhythm of life itself. The ancients weren't just meditating. They were engineering their biology for endurance and peace. What they left behind wasn't superstition. It was a blueprint for human longevity, waiting for us to rediscover. In today's fast-paced world, we are suffocating in plain sight. The average person takes more than 20,000 breaths a day, yet most of those breaths are shallow, rushed, and unconscious. We sit hunched over screens, shoulders caved in, lungs compressed. We live under constant pressure, deadlines ticking, phones buzzing, minds racing. And though we rarely notice it, our breath mirrors our chaos. Each shallow inhale tells the body, you're in danger. Each quick exhale signals, survival first, healing later. Over time, this chronic state of low-grade stress eats away at our lifespan. When breath becomes short and frantic, Oxygen delivery plummets. The body's cells struggle to generate energy efficiently, and toxins accumulate faster than they can be expelled. Stress hormones like cortisol flood the bloodstream, damaging tissues, impairing digestion, and accelerating cellular aging. It's no coincidence that people who live with anxiety, insomnia, or constant fatigue often exhibit shallow breathing patterns. The body and mind are in a loop. Fear shortens the breath, and shortened breath feeds fear. Researchers from Stanford and Harvard have shown that chronic shallow breathing can trigger a cascade of health problems: hypertension, inflammation, reduced immunity, even shortened telomeres, the tiny caps at the ends of your DNA that determine how long your cells live. In other words, poor breathing literally accelerates aging at the cellular level. It's as if we're speeding toward our biological expiration date, one tight chest and rushed inhale at a time. We live in an age where technology has extended convenience but shortened patience. We breathe as though we're constantly being chased, even when we're safe. And yet, the irony is that the very act that sustains us, breathing, has become the very habit that is killing us slowly. But here lies the awakening moment. The problem is not that we breathe, but how we breathe. And if the way we breathe determines how we live, then changing our breath might just change our life, and perhaps even extend it. It began as a whisper in the scientific community. Could the ancients have been right all along? Over the past 2 decades, researchers have delved deep into the biology of breath, uncovering evidence that controlled breathing doesn't just calm the mind. It rewires the body at the cellular level. The key lies in oxygen, the invisible fuel that powers every heartbeat, every thought, every movement. But more oxygen doesn't necessarily mean better health. It's the way we use it that matters. In a landmark study from Harvard Medical School, scientists found that slow, deliberate breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and repair mode. This shift reduces blood pressure, balances hormones, and triggers the release of nitric oxide, a molecule that expands blood vessels and improves circulation. As nitric oxide levels rise, oxygen delivery becomes more efficient, inflammation drops, and cells begin to rejuvenate. This isn't just relaxation, it's regeneration. At the University of California, a separate team discovered that mindful breathing directly affects telomeres, the biological clocks at the end of our chromosomes. Longer telomeres mean slower aging, and participants who practiced breath-based meditation daily showed telomere lengths equivalent to people up to 15 years younger. Another groundbreaking study published in Cell Reports revealed that deep, rhythmic breathing boosts mitochondrial function, the tiny power plants inside every cell, increasing energy production and slowing oxidative damage. When we breathe deeply, we're not just filling our lungs, we're resetting our internal systems. Oxygen becomes a messenger, communicating with our genes and triggering the expression of anti-aging proteins. Cortisol, the stress hormone that erodes health over time, begins to drop. The immune system strengthens. Sleep improves. Memory sharpens. And yet, perhaps the most remarkable discovery is that these effects are not reserved for monks or mystics. Anyone, a student, a parent, an office worker, can experience them. Modern science has simply put numbers and mechanisms to what the ancient masters already lived. Through the rhythm of breath, they found a path to longevity, peace, and strength. The truth, proven and measurable, is breathtakingly simple. By mastering your breath, you master your biology. Beyond the lab, results and data charts lies something that science alone cannot explain: the spiritual dimension of breath. For millennia, mystics and seekers across cultures have spoken of breath as the bridge between the human and the divine. In the stillness between inhalation and exhalation, they found portals to awareness, clarity, and transcendence. The Upanishads of ancient India call it the thread that ties the soul to the body. Taoist masters described breath as the rhythm of heaven flowing through mortal form. Even the Bible speaks of the Creator breathing life into humanity. Breath, in essence, is not just air. It is spirit made tangible. Modern spirituality, stripped of superstition, is rediscovering this truth. Breath anchors the wandering mind, pulling it back from fear, regret, and distraction. When you breathe consciously, you are no longer lost in the noise of thought. You are present, alive in the only moment that truly exists. Yogis describe this as entering the pranic state, where energy moves freely and consciousness expands. Neuroscientists, meanwhile, observe synchronized brainwave patterns and heightened alpha activity, signs of peace, intuition, and creativity. The mystical and the measurable are finally converging. To the ancient masters, longevity wasn't about living more years. It was about living more fully in each breath. When the mind quiets, the body follows, and energy once wasted on stress becomes fuel for healing. Breath becomes prayer, motion becomes meditation, and life itself becomes sacred. This is the hidden harmony of science and spirituality, two languages describing the same phenomenon. One speaks of oxygen, neurons, and genes. The other speaks of soul, awareness, and oneness. Yet both point toward a single truth. Through conscious breathing, we awaken the infinite within the finite. And as you inhale with awareness and exhale with surrender, something extraordinary happens. You don't just breathe. You begin to remember what it means to be alive. Now that we understand both the science and the spirit behind the breath, it's time to experience the technique itself. The very practice said to increase lifespan, calm the nervous system, and awaken dormant energy within. This method, which we'll call the longevity breath, draws from ancient yogic pranayama, Taoist qi breathing, and modern respiratory science. It's simple, yet profound. When practiced daily, even for a few minutes, it begins to reset your body's internal rhythm, balancing energy, sharpening focus, and rejuvenating cells from within. Begin by sitting upright. It doesn't matter if you sit on the floor, a cushion, or a chair. What matters is that your spine is straight, your shoulders relaxed, and your heart open. Gently close your eyes. Place one hand on your abdomen and the other on your chest. Feel your natural breath for a few seconds. Observe its depth, its pace, its sound. Don't try to control it yet. Just watch. This observation alone begins the journey inward. Now inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 5. As you do, let your abdomen expand, not your chest. This is diaphragmatic breathing, where the lower lungs fill fully, drawing oxygen to the deepest tissues. Hold that breath for a count of 5. Feel the stillness, the pause between life's rhythm. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 7, releasing tension from your shoulders, face, and mind. This extended exhalation is vital. It signals safety to your nervous system and allows full detoxification of carbon dioxide. This is one cycle. Begin with 10 cycles each morning, ideally upon waking. As you grow more comfortable, extend your practice to 5 minutes, then 10, and eventually up to 20 minutes a day. You can practice seated in silence or with gentle instrumental music, but avoid screens, conversations, or distractions. Your breath deserves your undivided attention. For advanced practice, introduce the retention phase. After your final exhale, hold your breath with empty lungs for a count of 5. This trains your body to tolerate lower oxygen levels safely, improving endurance and oxygen efficiency. Over time, this retention expands naturally, awakening internal energy currents known in yogic texts as kundalini, the life force coiled at the base of the spine. Throughout the practice, keep your focus on the sensations within your body, the warmth in your hands, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the quiet that begins to form in your mind. You may notice thoughts fading, replaced by a vast sense of awareness. In that stillness, your cells begin to repair, your nervous system resets, and your body remembers its original harmony. Practice consistently, not perfectly. Breathwork is less about effort and more about surrender. The ancients said that when the breath is mastered, time itself slows. With every mindful inhale and every deliberate exhale, you reclaim the years lost to stress and distraction, one breath at a time. What happens inside your body when you practice the longevity breath is nothing short of miraculous, and science can now explain it in astonishing detail. Each slow, controlled breath acts as a message to your nervous system, whispering that the storm is over and that it's safe to heal. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, sometimes called the rest and repair mode. When this system awakens, heart rate slows, digestion improves, blood pressure stabilizes, and the body begins to repair the damage caused by years of chronic stress. But that's only the beginning. During each deep inhalation, oxygen saturates the bloodstream and reaches the smallest capillaries, feeding the mitochondria, the tiny energy factories inside every cell. These mitochondria thrive on oxygen, and when they're fully nourished, they generate energy more efficiently while producing fewer free radicals, the unstable molecules responsible for aging. This balance reduces oxidative stress, allowing cells to function like they did when you were younger. It's as if your entire physiology takes a deep sigh of relief. Then there's nitric oxide, a molecule that has captivated researchers for decades. Slow nasal breathing stimulates its production in the sinuses. As nitric oxide enters the lungs, it relaxes blood vessels and enhances oxygen uptake. This single molecule can improve cardiovascular health, reduce inflammation, and support immunity. Doctors once thought nitric oxide was merely a byproduct of breathing. Now they understand it's a master regulator of vitality and longevity. The vagus nerve, often called the body's communication highway, is another player in this biological symphony. Every breath you take gently massages the vagus nerve, which connects your brain to your heart, lungs, and digestive organs. As this nerve activates, it releases calming neurotransmitters like acetylcholine and serotonin, reducing anxiety and balancing mood. Measurable indicators such as heart rate variability, HRV, rise significantly, a key sign of resilience, adaptability, and long life. At the genetic level, consistent breathwork appears to influence epigenetic expression, the way your genes are turned on or off. Studies from leading universities show that breath-centered meditation can lower inflammatory gene activity and increase the expression of genes linked to cellular repair. It's the same mechanism triggered by fasting, cold exposure, or exercise, yet far gentler, accessible to anyone at any age. All these changes combine into a unified biological effect. Homeostasis, the body's natural state of balance. When homeostasis is restored, every organ, every cell, every heartbeat moves in harmony. You feel clearer, lighter, younger. This is not mystical. It's measurable. Blood pressure drops, brainwaves smooth, cortisol falls and telomeres, the protective ends of DNA, lengthen. What once sounded like a legend from ancient temples has become the new frontier of health science. Breath, the simplest act of being alive, is the most advanced medicine you can ever learn to use. Something extraordinary happens when you practice the longevity breath consistently. Transformation begins, not in a single day, but over weeks, months, and years. At first, the changes are subtle. You notice mornings feel lighter. The racing mind that once chased 1,000 worries begins to soften. Your body feels less tense, your sleep deeper, and your emotions steadier. It's as if life slows down, not because the world changes, but because your perception sharpens. You begin to live inside each moment rather than running past it. After a few weeks, your energy levels rise. Oxygen efficiency improves, and the body learns to extract more vitality from every breath. People around you may start to notice. Your eyes appear brighter, your skin more vibrant, your posture more upright. The deep breathing massages your internal organs, stimulating blood flow and aiding detoxification. The digestive system, once burdened by stress, begins to find its natural rhythm again. Over time, this practice doesn't just affect the body, it reshapes the mind. Old emotional patterns begin to dissolve. Many practitioners describe a newfound calm, not forced serenity, but a deep, grounded peace that no external chaos can easily disturb. You start responding instead of reacting. Your words become slower, more thoughtful. Even in moments of tension, your breath anchors you, like a silent friend reminding you that you are safe. In scientific studies, long-term breath practitioners display brain scans similar to seasoned meditators. Enhanced activity in regions linked to empathy, focus, and creativity, and reduced activity in areas tied to fear and impulsiveness. The brain literally rewires itself for clarity and compassion. This is neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to heal and evolve, activated through nothing more than conscious breathing. But perhaps the most inspiring transformations are the real stories. A 68-year-old man in Japan who adopted a daily breathing practice reversed early signs of heart disease. A corporate executive in London, once addicted to stress, regained balance and lowered her blood pressure without medication. A monk in the Himalayas, measured by visiting scientists, displayed metabolic markers equivalent to a man half his age. Across cultures and continents, the story repeats. Those who breathe with awareness seem to live not only longer, but more alive. And it's not only longevity in years, it's longevity in vitality. You wake up rested. You walk with purpose. You eat, speak, and think with mindfulness. The technique becomes more than an exercise. It becomes a way of living. Life no longer feels like a race against time, but a harmonious dance with it. When your breath changes, your frequency changes. Your relationships deepen. Your creativity flows. Your intuition sharpens. You stop aging merely by counting years and begin aging with grace, power, and presence. This is not a temporary fix, but a transformation of being, one breath at a time. The benefits of the longevity breath are both immediate and cumulative, weaving through every layer of your existence, body, mind, and spirit. Within minutes of beginning, you may feel a wave of calm washing over you, your heart rate slowing, your muscles loosening. That's your nervous system shifting gears, moving from survival into restoration. Within days, your sleep deepens, digestion improves, and energy levels stabilize. Your body begins to trust again. Trust that it can heal, that it no longer has to fight the invisible war of chronic stress. After several weeks, measurable physiological changes begin to occur. Blood pressure balances naturally, heart rate variability increases, and inflammatory markers drop. The steady rhythm of your breathing regulates hormones like cortisol and melatonin, aligning your body's natural circadian rhythm. As oxygen utilization improves, mental fog fades and clarity returns. Tasks that once felt overwhelming now seem effortless. It's as if the static between you and life itself begins to clear. Emotionally, the breath becomes your compass. Every deep inhale reconnects you to courage. Every exhale to surrender. Fear, anxiety, and frustration lose their grip because you have found the control point within yourself, your breath. Instead of drowning in emotion, you ride its waves with poise and power. In this balanced state, your relationships transform too. You communicate more openly, listen more deeply, and respond with patience rather than impulse. Creativity blossoms. The same oxygen that nourishes your cells also fuels your imagination. Artists, writers, and innovators throughout history have used breath as a catalyst for inspiration. Leonardo da Vinci described deep breathing as the sharpening of the inner eye. When the body is calm, the mind becomes a clear mirror for new ideas. And then there's the deeper, subtler benefit, the extension of vitality itself. Studies now suggest that consistent breathwork can lengthen telomeres, rejuvenate mitochondria, and slow biological aging by decades. But beyond the science lies an even more profound truth. Breathwork doesn't just add years to your life, it adds life to your years. Each breath becomes an act of renewal, a reset button that clears the past and prepares you for what's next. Spiritually, you begin to feel a quiet connection to something larger than yourself. Whether you call it God, the universe, or simply life, you sense its rhythm moving through you. Breath reveals that the sacred isn't hidden in temples or rituals. It's within you, flowing in and out every moment. You no longer chase peace. You breathe it. You no longer seek purpose. You embody it. And as days turn into years of consistent practice, the evidence becomes undeniable. Wrinkles soften, movements slow with grace, not fatigue. The body becomes a vessel of lightness, the mind a sanctuary of stillness. You realize that longevity isn't the goal, presence is. For in every deep, conscious breath, you are reborn. Your first breath brought you into this world, and your last one will carry you out. Everything in between is your opportunity to master the art of living. The ancients knew that the breath was the bridge between life and eternity. And now, with science as our witness, we understand they were right. You don't need a monastery or a mountaintop to begin. You just need a moment. This moment. Right now, close your eyes. Inhale deeply through your nose. Feel your lungs fill, your heart expand, your mind quiet. Hold that breath. Hold the miracle of being alive. Then exhale slowly, releasing the tension of every yesterday. That single cycle holds the power to heal, to awaken, to transform. If you commit to just a few minutes a day, the longevity breath will begin to rewrite your biology and your destiny. Don't let this be another video you watch and forget. Let it be the turning point. Start today. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes before bed. Then, share this gift. Teach it to your family, your friends, anyone you love. Invite them to join you in a 30-day breath challenge and witness how profoundly life can change when we remember the most essential act of being human. You came into this world with a breath. You will leave with a breath. But between those two, you have the choice to breathe consciously. Because maybe, just maybe, the secret to a longer life isn't hidden in a pill or a machine. It's hidden inside you, waiting for your next inhale